Welcome to MyZone Online School. My name is Mrs. Pinar. My friend is Pomweni. Welcome. Right, before we start, remember to always sanitize. Make sure your hands are clean. You sanitize. Please remember to keep your social distance, and also remember to put on your masks. Today's lesson is Mathematics, Grade 7, Lesson 5, Multiples. When we go to page 13 in our booklet, we will continue with multiples. Now, what is a multiple? A multiple is the answer we get when that number is multiplied by another whole number. Again, a multiple is the answer we get when that number is multiplied by another whole number. For example, 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30 are all multiples of 6. Why? Because 6 times 1 equals 6, 6 times 2 equals 12, 6 times 3 equals 18, 6 times 4 equals 24, and 6 times 5 equals 30. So the multiples of 6 are the numbers that we multiply by 6, the answer of those numbers. In the block, we will find the multiples of 8. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80, and so on. Those are the multiples of 8. So if we multiply 8 with another whole number, we will find one of those answers. 8 times 1 will equal 8. 8 times 2, 16. So those are the multiples of 8. We go to our examples. If you are asked to write down all the multiples of 7 less than 40. Remember, the multiples of 7 less than 40. 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35. How did we find that numbers? If we multiply 7 by another whole number, we find the answer of those numbers. 7 times 1 up to 7 times 5, which is equal to 35, because our question is all the multiples of 7 less than 40. In number 2, the question is, write down all the multiples of 9 between 20 and 80. So all the multiples of 9 between 20 and 80. So where will we start? If we see 9 times 1 is equal to 9, and we find that 9 is less than 20, we know that 9 is not one of the multiples that is between 20 and 80. So the first multiple of 9 from 20 onwards is 9 times 3, which is 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, and 72. The number after 72 will be 81. So 81 is more than 80. So the numbers or the multiples of 9 between 20 and 80 are the ones that you have there in front of you in your booklet. Right. How do we determine the lowest common multiple? And we call the lowest, or the abbreviation for lowest common multiple is simply the LCM. Now let's define what the lowest common multiple is. If you look at the lowest, the word lowest means the smallest number. The smallest number. Common means the numbers that appears in both sets of numbers. The number that appears in both sets of numbers. And multiple is the answer to a multiplication table. In our example there, we have two sets of multiples. We have the multiples of 4 and the multiples of 6. So we have to find the LCM. In the multiples of 4, we have the set of numbers 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and it continues. And the multiples of 6, which is 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and it continues. And we see the common multiples are 12, 24, 36, and 48. And so if we have to find the lowest common multiple, like we said, the smallest number of the ones that we find in both sets, we will see that 12 is our LCM. We're moving on to page 14. Now, what we have on page 14 are some examples which I want to explain on the board for you. Now, what do we have there? We have to find the LCM. And the LCM, like we said, is the lowest common multiple. Let's revise quickly. Lowest meaning the smallest number. Common, the numbers that we find in both multiples. And the multiples is a number that the answer of a multiple of a number that you multiply by another whole number. Now the first 12 multiples of 4 and 6. Umweni. Let's find the multiples of 4 first. Can you help me out here? The multiples of 4, where do we start? 4. He says 4, 8, 12, continue, 16, 20, 24, 28. I think we can stop there. You can continue with the other 12, with the other, that's the rest. The multiples of 6. If we have to find the first 12 multiples of 6, Pumweni, can you help me out here?
6.
It says 6,
12,
12, 18, 24, 30. And you can continue up to the first 12 multiples. Pumweni, by looking at these numbers, we have to find the common multiples. Common meaning the numbers that we find in both sets of numbers. Can you give me the common multiples that you see from the board here?
12.
He says 12. Can you find another one?
24.
24. Right. So the common multiples in these two sets. Right. So we found Our common multiples are 12 and 24. Now we have to find the LCM. LCM, L is for lowest. So we found the multiples of 4 and 6. We have found the common multiples. So now we have to find the lowest. Can you tell me which number is the lowest of these two numbers? 12. So our LCM is 12. We'll do another example. Are you ready, Pomwene? Okay. Let's find the LCM of the following two numbers. If you go back to page 14, our example 2, we have to find the first 12 multiples of the numbers 6 and 8. So let's focus on the board again. The numbers that we have to find the LCM of are 6 and 8. Pomwene is going to assist us. Can you give me the multiples of 6? 6, continue. 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. And it can continue up to the 12 multiples. The multiples of 8, Pomwene, can you assist us? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, and we can continue. We add another one. What is this? The next one is 42. Am I right? Right. Pomwene, can you find the common multiples in these two sets of numbers?
24.
What? Which one?
24.
He says 24. Is there another one? You find another one? No. So the only common multiple that we have here is 24. So it means our LCM, our lowest common multiple of 6 and 8 is 24. Now you can work on your own. We have activities that starts on page 15. The first activity is, all you have to do is to write all the multiples of 4 from 16 to 44. So remember, all the multiples of 4 from 16 to 44. Number 2, write all the multiples of 6 between 35 and 70. Number 3, write down the first 6 multiples of 9. Number 4, you have to write all the multiples of 7 from 35 to 84. And in number 5, it is expected from you to write all the multiples of 8 between 40 and 80. In B, now you have to find the LCM. Because you have to use the numbers 3 and 9, first of all, you have to find the first 12 multiples of these numbers. Secondly, you have to discover all the common multiples. And then in C, you have to find the lowest common multiple. In number 2, we have to find the LCM of 3 and 4. Again, find the first 12 multiples of these numbers. B says you have to discover all the common multiples, and C, you are expected to find the lowest common multiple. Then we continue on page 16. You have to fill those 3 and 4 in that space there provided. Number 3, you have to do the same with the numbers 4 and 8. And then we go to number 4. Here we have to write down the multiples of each set of numbers and find the LCM of each set. The first set, we have 2, 5, and 6 up to 40. So we have to find the multiples of 2 up to 40, 5 up to 40, and the multiples of 6 up to 40. And number 2, we have to find the multiples of 6, the multiples of 8, and the multiples of 12 up to 60. And then you have to write down the LCM. Just remember that we have to sanitize always. After each lesson, you have to sanitize. Remember to keep your social distance, and don't forget your masks. I thank you.
What is social distancing? Hi everyone, I am Zoshi, and I'm back. It literally just means that you need to stay home all the time and keep away from crowded places. And remember to keep your distance from your friends too. Everybody stay safe. Yay! Till next time. Bye!
This fishing community on Mozambique's northern coast has been hit hard. People here are suffering from high rates of malnutrition, but that's not all. The greatest concern is the high rates of HIV infection and AIDS, the main cause of death in adults and young people across Mozambique. Poor nutrition makes it even more difficult for people to fight the disease. 21-year-old Elima Artur is the daughter of one of these fishermen. A few years ago, she suddenly started suffering from an unknown illness.
Me encontrei desesperada, também triste, minha vida só era chorar. Pensei que eu já estava a ir já.
All this changed the day Elima met Arlek Anna Abel from a project called Chapani. With support from IFAD, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, and the Belgian Fund for Food Security, staff from Chapani work with villagers to combat the dual threats of HIV and malnutrition. When Elima tested positive for HIV and AIDS, Arlette encouraged her to form a support group. Elima chose her father and aunt, who helped her to stay optimistic and healthy. In fact, teaching people to eat well is an important part of Arlette's work.
Eu ensinei elas para que pudesse enriquecer os alimentos para ela poder as hemoglobinas não baixarem. Então, já se alimenta agora de verduras, não só do peixe.
As part of the Chapani project, Cooking demonstrations are held for everyone in the community. The session today features the highly nutritious moringa plant, a fast-growing, drought-resistant tree unknown to many locally. Now it has become a popular item in the local cuisine. Maria Machambi, who is not HIV positive, is learning to create her own garden with more than 6,000 other families in the area. The idea is spreading quickly throughout the community, with locally trained volunteers now leading the process.
They share their ideas with their neighbors and everyone gets excited. For us, that is key. Once communities own the process and they don't need an external person to tell them how to cook food, how to prepare it, they do it within themselves.
The success of the project has motivated IFAD to expand nutrition education across the nation over the next 3 years. Meanwhile, Alima is playing a key role in spreading the word about healthy living. Through songs, she informs people about safeguarding against HIV and AIDS, adopting healthy eating habits, and learning to cope with the disease.
Vê lá, me repara só. Sabe, uma pessoa pode me ver, não saber que eu tenho esse tipo de problema. Hã? Estou bem, hein? Ouviste?
And with more than 10% of Mozambique's adult population infected with HIV, this message has never been more pertinent. This report was produced by Jonathan Elliott for the United Nations.
Prevention is important. Help prevent the spread of illness and keep yourself and others well. Hand washing is one of the most effective ways of preventing the spread of germs. Wash your hands regularly with soap and hot water, scrubbing your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. Hand sanitizers can be used but are not recommended as a substitute for hand washing. Use sanitizers in addition to hand washing or in a situation where soap and water are not available. To avoid spreading germs, limit sharing of personal items such as utensils, cups, and dishes. Your skin acts as a barrier to germs, but your eyes, nose, and mouth are more vulnerable. Wash your hands thoroughly before touching your face, eating, or drinking. Avoid physical contact with others, including handshakes, fist bumps, high fives, hugs, and kisses. Social distancing is deliberately increasing the physical space between people to avoid spreading germs. While regulations may vary by country or area, the best guideline for social distancing is to maintain a distance of 6 feet from others. Germs can travel through the air from one person to another. If you sneeze or cough, do so into a tissue or the inside of your elbow to prevent the spread of germs. Avoid contact with ill individuals and insist they isolate themselves until they have recovered and are symptom-free. Clean and sanitize frequently touched common surfaces and high-traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
On the Gold Coast of West Africa lies the peaceful and diverse nation of Ghana. I'm pretty close right now to the geographical center of the Earth. It is also one of the last pockets for elephants in the wilds of West Africa.
You know, every country in the world just about has cattle, sheep, goats, horses, donkeys, but it's only Africa that has the real megafauna, the charismatic stuff which people in the rest of the world want to see.
The passion that the staff have for the job. There's value to a bird which brings birders to a place like this. I mean, this is a birding paradise. We see an intrinsic appreciation and joy from seeing the wildlife out here, but not everybody does.
You can't get to Moli and then will not be passionate about what we do, because you'll be the only one left. Everybody is passionate.
The only worthwhile war, the war against destruction, the war against loss, the war for peace, for balance, for inclusion.
It is out of my work. Buffaloes, elephants, duikers, atabi are still in existence.
If Mole fails, then Ghana is without wildlife.
Join me as we journey to the untamed wilderness of northern Ghana to meet these last defenders.
The people within the law enforcement agencies don't really know. You're talking about a roan antelope. Somebody thinks it's just like a goat.